Well, hello. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to quickly and easily do a technique for anxiety. Thanks to our world, we already had the stress level stored in our bodies that created anxiety and muscle tension, not sleeping. And then you had COVID and politics and the stresses of finances. Everything has made that skyrocket. So now people who are introverted are even more so fearful of being out in public. And those who had people skills, some of them have lost those people skills being locked away and locked down. And so there's a transition happening. And one of the things that I can help you with is teach you what they call FAST EFT, emotional freedom technique. And there is a longer version, but this works easily and quickly, and you can do it with me. I can give you an example. I had a patient who was jonesing for heroin at a level 10, did this 3 times and brought it down to 0. Now, did that help her addiction and cravings later? Not if she didn't use the technique. And that's part of the problem. Many times we learn something, it works, but we forget. I mean, even as a medical provider, I'd hurt my wrist or my ankle, and like somebody would say, well, why don't you take a Tylenol? And I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. So we don't think of taking care of ourselves. So this is one technique you can use, and I will show you how it can be easily used in public at the end. So first you take, because what you're doing is when you have anxiety, you get in a loop. Now, the other part of that is you may be triggered, and you may know what the triggers are, but you may not. Because I give the example, you're sitting in your kitchen, you're drinking coffee, eating cinnamon toast, door slams, phone rings, somebody died, trauma. And your body is always on that fight or flight to protect you, but it doesn't know when to shut down sometimes. So your unconscious gathers all of that sensory information, and if some of that comes into your space, it may trigger that, oh, I gotta go. So what this does is you don't need to know the triggers. You may never know the whole triggers. So it gets you in a brain loop. So this is going to stop that brain loop and retrain your brain to go in a different direction. So what you do is you take 2 fingers and you tap right here, nice and slow. Breathe in and out, nice and slow, because anxiety, pain, all of that is very fast. So nice and slow. And you state, I release and let it go. I release and let it go. And just a deep breath. And then here, I release and let it go. Nice deep breath. And here, I release and let it go. I release and let it go. And then here, I release and let it go. Deep breath. Release and let it go. Then grab your opposite wrist. Take a deep breath. Peace. Now, you've anchored it in your wrist. So if you're in public, you don't want to look goofy and be tapping, but you've anchored it in your wrist. You just grab your wrist and you can say, I release and let it go, or just breathe, because your body will remember it. Now, say you started out with level 10 anxiety. You do that, and if you're still not down to 0, you just keep doing it and it will get you there. Also, Always recommended because we get up, we go to work, or we do whatever. Our day creates stress on us. And do we have an hour, or do we take an hour to go do yoga or to do something to release stress? Not usually. Our society is not helpful in that way. So this is a fast technique anytime during the day, but also at night before bed. You can do that tapping and release and let it go and release the stresses that you've had on that day instead of getting up the next day and adding more. Also, I've seen it work for back pain, cravings, anything that you want to release and let go. That's why the statement is very general. Does work. So I hope this is helpful, and check back and let's see what else I could share. Bye.